Amazing. Okay, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm your host, Mapitsi, and we have our guest speaker, Mr. Zenon Ndayisenga, for the second time. This time we are going to be discussing post-colonialism, we're going to be discussing genuine decolonization, we're going to be discussing post-apartheid. Mr. Zenon does not believe that we do have those things in South Africa nor in Africa. So let's give him the space. Can you please give us like a summary of like what is going on, what's the whole thing? Why don't you think there's no post-colonialism, there's no post-apartheid?
Thank you very much. Let me start by the concept of decolonization itself. The concept of decolonization has been misused and not defined as it was supposed to be. As Africans who experienced the negative impacts of colonization, we should avoid to refer to Western definitions of decolonization and affirm that from our own understanding, the concept of decolonization emerges from colonization itself, and that decolonization always seeks to deconstruct the long-duration project of colonialism. In most of African states and Arabic world as well, we have only achieved what Frantz Fanon defined as post-decolonization. What Frantz Fanon defined as pseudo-decolonization. We still have a huge task to dismantle and deconstruct colonialism in order for us to achieve genuine decolonization, which is still a lacuna in most of colonized countries. It is from this perspective that, for me, the concept of decolonization is still an incomplete, and it will only be complete once colonized subjects achieve genuine or real decolonization. Here, I mean once former colonized subjects are able to decide on their own and not to be protocoled or dictated by the former colonizers for what must be done for them, politically, economically, epistemically, and even ontologically. In short, decolonization is an ongoing process that will require always. Decolonization is an ongoing process that will always require the challenge of coloniality, colonialism, and the present absent colonization. Yes.
So it makes sense to just say we're in the process of achieving post-colonialism. It's not post-colonialism yet.
No, we are still.
We're still in the process.
We are still colonized.
We are still colonized.
Yeah, because we are still lacking, as I was saying, we are still lacking what we call genuine decolonization. So what we have achieved so far, as Frantz Fanon said, we have only reached what we call pseudo-decolonization, or in another term, we have achieved in Africa what we call pseudo-independencies, where you will find that in most of African countries, we only have a flag. And this one we say, we got our independencies in 1962. Another country will come, we got our independence in 1965, and we will be now having dates for celebration of the independencies. But if you go in deep, you found that all African countries are still colonized.
Okay, so let's move to another question. Do you think that African nations, after gaining political independence, have truly decolonized, or are they still trapped into neo-colonial structures?
Look, after carefully reading Frantz Fanon's work, and Mapogo Pimore's work, or even my articles as well, and that of others, you will discover that we all agree that Africa has not gained political independence.
It has not.
No. Depending from Frantz Fanon's conception of pseudo-independence, as I was saying, I assume that Africa has not gained yet political independence, but just only flag independencies where the white colonizers designed some kinds of flags for us, and we raise them and celebrate the false independencies. So African nation have not been yet decolonized. We are still having so-called African presidents who behave like supervisors of the Western deciders or Western powers. Allow me to repeat this.
Yes.
I'm saying that we are still having so-called African presidents
Yes.
who behave like supervisors of the Western deciders or Western powers. And the Euro North America still decide who must be the president in the former colony, African colonies, who must leave and who must come back, etc. So countries such as France, Germany, United Kingdom, Italy, and Belgium, Spain, Portugal, and the United States of America are still dictating former colonized countries what must be done. Colonialism, therefore, is an ending project that requires an ending decolonial sacrifice too. So African youth must renew the decolonial tactics. They have to counterattack the masters and the planners of coloniality in order for them to eradicate neo-colonialism in Africa.
So it's up to the youth to do something about this.
Youth, they have to know that our grandfathers, they have done what their task is.
Yeah.
And then now they are no longer. Now we have to take over and continue with the an ending struggle. I mean the struggle that have to be to challenge the neo-colonial project.
Okay. Well, let's move to the third question. How do you view South Africa's post-apartheid transformation? Is it a form of decolonization, or has it simply swapped one form of colonial oppression for another?
Oh, thank you for such a great question. I think the concept of post-apartheid in South Africa is a colonial and misleading concept.
It's a misleading concept.
Yes. Yeah. I personally have many times refused to use the concept post-apartheid as a concept. Hence, once I accept to use that concept, it means that I agree that apartheid is no longer in South Africa. So in all domains of life, black South Africans are still suffering direct and indirect negative impacts of apartheid.
Yes.
Black South Africans, who are the 85% of majority, are still workers of few white minority. Land, economy are still dominated by few whites, while black people are homeless. And even those who manage to be educated are unemployed. Apartheid is still a reality in South Africa.
What do you think about the concept of negotiations, especially looking at the South African context during the 1994 when they were gaining independence? What do you think of the whole concept of negotiations?
Well, thank you. Some scholars and other people, they still appreciating Nelson Mandela's position to use negotiation for ANC to reach on power. Yeah, somehow it was a good step, but to another extent it was not.
It was not?
No, it was not.
So do you think negotiations can be good for genuine decolonization?
I think the negotiation, if I take consideration of what Frantz Fanon defined as a genuine decolonization, negotiation cannot be used if a nation wants to reach genuine decolonization.
They can never use negotiation.
It should not be used. But we, as colonized people, black subjects actually, they were supposed to respond or use what Frantz Fanon termed as counter-violence. So counter-violence actually is a response, a good response to the colonial violence. So with counter-violence, you do not go through negotiation. You decide to dismantle, to deconstruct the conquests, because remember also the colonizers, once they come to colonize us, they could not negotiate with us. No, they just came and they used force to colonize us. So we have also to use force and counter violence to decolonize.
So it's only fair for us to use counter-violence to get our freedom back.
Without the use of counter-violence, what we get is what I was saying. We got now what we call pseudo freedom, or pseudo liberation. So it is a kind of false. Liberation where we'll be seeing like we are free while we are not.
Okay. So what would genuine decolonization look like in a modern context, especially in terms of dismantling both visible and invisible structures of power? Is it only through political independence, or must there be a larger cultural and intellectual reawakening?
Okay, thank you. I think the concept of genuine decolonization is what must define or mark self-determination of colonized subjects in our present days. It is the youth's responsibility to know that each generation must do something greater than our grandfathers have done. The project of decolonization has to continue to be inaugurated and practiced in our everyday lives.
Yes.
Genuine decolonization is a concept that is linked to human sacrifices of colonized subjects for the better lives of other generations to come. Look, for instance, as Albert literally the road to freedom is via the cross. So here, meaning that some of us must die for others to have better lives in the future. So genuine decolonization is then born only from an unending struggle engaged by colonized subjects through the use of what Frantz Fanon termed as counter-violence or contre-violence in French, and a daily practice of negation of negation. Here I mean that a negated black subject has to negate as well the colonizer's domination. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So the fifth question, with all that you have said, do you think that we have such thing as post-colonial in Africa, or the term is just used to fool us?
Yeah, thank you for that great question as well. So I think there is nothing such as post-colonial, but only still witnessing colonialism, which is now academically assessed as coloniality.
So there is no such thing as
post-colonialism? No, there is no such thing.
Because we're still experiencing colonialism.
Yes, because as I said above, concerning post-apartheid, I do not agree with the term post-colonialism. So while colonialism is still an ongoing project, so those who believe in post-colonialism are puppet scholars who are used by the Euro-North America epistemic deciders so that they help them to continue confusing and misleading us. So I think we should be careful on which concepts that we are being taught or which concept that we are teaching to our younger ones. The West put too much money to teach us about post-colonialism, while at the same time they prevent and block whoever advances the colonial concepts. So in short, we should then talk about post-colonialism once colonialism is no longer, and so far we know and see that it is still active. The reason why we should refrain from using the term post-colonialism in Africa and the other colonized world.
Okay, Mr. Ndayisenga, you said something about African leaders being puppets of Western deciders. What do you mean with that? What do you mean when you say that?
Oh, thank you very much. As you know, Euro North America, they use our brothers and sisters so that they can divide us. So colonialism itself, it used the divide and impera, where they make sure that we are not united.
Yeah.
So now they will empower a part or some members from our society, so that they can, those who are empowered, they come back and destroy us.
Okay.
So that's why then I was saying that some, especially even in academia, you found that some scholars, they are just puppet scholars, why they were supposed to be genuine scholars who fight for their integrity, who were supposed to fight for our freedom, academically and also politically.
So they're using the same structure that they were using back then to divide us.
Obvious. So remember, once we are divided, we cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Look, for instance, as I was saying in South Africa, black people, they are 85%, while white people, they are less than 20%.
Yes.
So, but look, whites are still dominating black people.
Yes.
If black people can unite, then it's gonna be easier for black South African to reach genuine freedom. They will make sure that we always divide, because our success is within our unity, and once we are not united, that's where then we see our failure.
So that's how they continue with colonizing us.
Obvious. And here in South Africa, we cannot say that we black people are united. You can see that through political parties. You can see that through academia. You can see that in the government itself. So we are still having a long journey. We are still have a task. Especially, we have to unite our people, because majority without unity, it's useless.
Okay, I understand. Colonialism happens daily. Like it's every day we're here, it's colonialism. We're town, it's colonialism. Everywhere, it's colonialism.
Yes.
So we have to start with our day-to-day life.
Yes.
And then we go to academics, and then we go into like politics and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you. It looks you caught me very well. So actually, you will see a number of scholars who argue that colonialism is over. Colonialism is not over.
It's not.
It is all over. Yeah, especially in the colonized world. So then, if colonialism is still operating and active, then as I was saying, we have also now to make sure that our decolonial projects are set in an ongoing way, so that we challenge colonialism itself. So let me summarize this. If colonialism is a long-duration project that still continue, decolonization have also to be in the same way. It have to be a continual project. Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to like day-to-day life, it means that it is up to everyone to be part of this whole decolonizing process. So, but then don't you think like most of people are expecting the like political elites to actually be the ones who are decolonizing, and but not they just want to sit down and do nothing? Don't you think people will?
That's what they have in their thoughts. But if we say the truth, as Frantz Fanon said, it is only the mass that has the power to decolonize. Because the mass, they have nothing to lose but everything to gain. So we cannot wait for the elite to come and fight for the mass, because most of the elites are corrupted.
They are.
And they work together they work together with the colonizer, and
Yeah.
they form a class that Frantz Fanon called bourgeoisie class.
Yes.
The bourgeoisie class is that class that you work together with the colonizer. So the colonizer use them to continue to oppress the mass in the colonized countries.
So it is up to the mass to actually take action and
Obvious.
stop waiting for the enemy.
Wherever you will see the process of liberation, it's only the mass that stand, especially the youth.
Yes.
It's only the youth and the mass that stand and say enough is enough. So for today, we negate colonialism, we negate coloniality, we negate domination of a few. Then, in such process. So, it's you and I and your colleague, especially youth, as I was saying, that we have to engage and then fight against coloniality, against colonialism.
Okay, so looking at the South African youth is like unemployed, some are sitting at home, the illiterate percentage is very high. How do you think people will know that, okay, here I'm being colonized and here I should change this? This is colonialism, and this is where I have to stand up and say, you know what, enough is enough. Because I don't think most of them, they do understand that the problem that they're in, like this bubble, they're colonized, they don't get it. They think, okay, we have gained independence and yay, Mandela,
Right,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And they just sit down. How do you get this message to them to say, you know what, you guys should do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? How do you think it's a way to actually get them to be in this process of decolonizing?
Okay, as I said in my last conversation with you that we did last month, remember, when it comes to unemployment, youth, actually, they are studying a program that emerged from Europe.
Yes.
So once we study programs that emerge from Europe, we'll end up now finishing our program and just ending without having any job. So that is the consequences.
Yes.
So what we have to know is that the Western, they always impose on what we have to study so that once we finish, we work for them.
Okay.
But as I said, we were supposed to study some program that are linked to our indigenous beliefs, to our society, and even to our locations. So now, if the youth study and they don't get employment, so now, what is the need to study with and then you sit at home? If you study and then you sit at home, I think what we were supposed to do is then to decide and say, no. It's either that I have to come and fight this colonial project which is still going on. Because some, they only discover that the process of colonialism is still going on once they have finished studies and they don't get jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like this is just like a cycle. Like they have strategized us so well. They know that, okay, if we target the youth and they are unemployed and they are learning what we want them to learn, then they won't have the mind to fight against us. You get what I'm saying? Like we're giving them what we want them to know, not what they should know and what they should do.
Yes, but the issue, as I was saying, we are not supposed to be given what to study, but we're supposed to study programs that communicate with our society, programs that communicate with our beliefs, programs that when we finish them, we will go immediately and practice. So last time I give you an example. If now I'm forced to study French, for instance, and then I finish, I got a qualification degree in French, and I'm a black South African, so where I'm gonna go and use that French? Or even when I'm in DRC or East Africa, Burundi. So yes, if I have a qualification in French, I have a BA in French. So yes, now French is going down. So it means like in 10 years to come, I might find that I'm not gonna be employed. So, in summary, we are supposed to study programs that once we finish them, we will go to work and get in employment. Programs that communicate with ourselves, programs that communicate with our societies.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't you think, like, for some people it's just better to live with like what they're given rather like to start over and fight and do that? Because if they're going to start fighting, it means that they will have to go to the roots. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot to fight for.
Yes.
Like, it's not just about like universities and stuff like that. It's a lot to fight for. So where are people going to start there? Like, isn't that not just best to just sit down and live with what you're given rather than just to where are you going to start?
Yeah,
It's a
thank you.
whole process.
Thank you. Yeah, that is the willing. That's what the colonizer wants. That's what the master
Yeah.
wants. The master wants to tell you what you have to do, and then you accept without refusing.
Yeah.
So then the refusal
Yeah.
or the negation of the orders from the colonizer or the white master.
Yes.
It's not everyone who has that spirit for refusing. Only few. Because once you refuse the continuation of colonialism,
Yes.
it's like now you accept to fight with a train which is in a move.
Yes.
So it's not easy.
It's not
You
easy.
know that once you stand,
Yeah.
then you are a candidate to death.
Ye-
So
Oh.
it means that once you decide to fight against colonialism, you must know that you must be ready to die. Obvious, to die for others. As Albert truly said, that the road to freedom is via the cross.
So that is us. Thank you for watching our video. Mr. Zenon, do you have something that you want to say, that you want to add?
Yeah, thank you. I think I tried to respond to all of your questions.
Yes.
But what I want to add is that this message should be spread in everywhere in the world.
Yes.
Especially in the colonized countries.
Yes.
And mostly in South Africa.
Yeah.
So that the youth have to know that they have to be responsible of the genuine decolonization process
Yes.
and tasks.
Yes.
So they cannot be delegated to the colonizer. So it's up to the youth to know that they have to take that responsibility and know that genuine decolonization is not given, but is fought for.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we thank you. Thank you for watching our channel. Thank you.